Do you see future potential for aggregating any of that insight?
Yeah.
Like how would you think about non-score based aggregation, I suppose?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we've been working quite intensively on over the last 18 months or so, is we do our work at risk selection, at portfolio monitoring, and we've got loads of data and insight and a view based on insurability on an organization by organization basis. What we really realized was, because we're incredibly sort of transparent about our data and all of that, it's not so much of a stretch of the imagination to start slicing that the other way and say, well, what are the common themes across this portfolio? What are the single points of failure, the points of accumulation? How would this portfolio fare in aggregate scenarios? And similarly, based on your view of risk, view of insurability, how is this portfolio performing?
So almost scenario analysis type.
Exactly,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's really where we've lent into with our work on exposure management, supporting insurers, reinsurance brokers. That has been about supporting their ability to explore different scenarios.
Yeah.
What we, again, realised, we're not modelers. There are really good modelling firms out there, particularly sort of three main modelers of CyberQ, Moody's, Guidewire Science. What they do is really good. But what we also know is that the work they do on trying to get, again, to a bit more of an objective market level lens does leave a lot of heads of cyber, a lot of exposure management teams a bit out in the cold of being able to genuinely explore the implications of their view of risk. What happens if they want to try out 100 different scenarios, playing around with the dials as they go and seeing how that impacts their portfolio? What happens if they have a genuinely different view over the likelihood of cloud outages, of the likelihood of geopolitical cyber war escalation? How do you play those out in your portfolio? That's where we've come in, where, again, through that transparency, we are able to put a layer over the top that says, you pick the scenario. If you want to look at a cloud outage of 8 hours in AWS US East 1 EC2 service, go right ahead. If you want to then play around with what that means in Azure's Europe West, be our guest. We'll play that out. And what that's been particularly helpful for has, on one side, been giving a bit of an insight into, we want to change the product that we're offering our insureds. We want to give higher limits on particular scenarios, or we want to make sure that our liquidity and our reinsurance needs are met. But then, particularly recently in the war clauses, we've been supporting our insurer partners in understanding the impact of those, so that if they do want to write type 4 type clauses and now in future write affirmative policies, they're able to do that with eyes open rather than taking a guess and a bit of a jump into the unknown.